And
Yeah, see about.
The majority of the scientific community has come to the consensus that climate change is one of the most pressing issues facing society today. Plastic waste is one of the major contributors to this issue. In Los Angeles alone, over 10 tons of plastic waste enter the ocean each day. Plastic is a part of modern day life. We see it all around us. This is Mr. Mullane. He's the AP Environmental Science teacher here at the high school. We sat down to talk with him about plastic waste and how it's dealt with here in Pearl River.
Well, what I think is being done right is that we have a crew, right, the recycling club, that consistently, except for summer vacation, every Friday after school, go through into every room that they have access to, and they hand, take out the recyclables out of the recycling bin. They'll even grab, bottles that are on desks and things. And the first part of recycling is collecting those plastics, right? And that is labor intensive, and takes great dedication by those students. So that's really cool that they do that, and they collect those. They empty sometimes remaining water and stuff, and they gather them all up in the bags so that they're sorted and ready to go out into the recycling bins outside.
What happens when recyclables end up in the trash or end up in the ocean, and what kind of impact do we see following that?
Well, plastics in the ocean, we'll talk about that specifically. Depending on the type of plastic, they can cause different types of harm. If we were talking about a plastic bag, like a trash bag, a ShopRite bag, maybe plastic that a newspaper is wrapped in and delivered, in the water that appears like a jellyfish to something like a sea turtle. The sea turtle may eat it. It's not digestible, so then it will block its digestive tract, and sadly the turtle might slowly starve to death, right, if its intestines are blocked.
We talked more about what's being done in the school, specifically what one student has accomplished. Senior Skylar Paletta has started her own organization to assist sea turtles.
About 2 years ago, I was snorkeling off the coast of the Cayman Islands, and it was probably like 10 feet off, and there was plastic all at the bottom of the ocean, and that really got me mad because a lot of people don't know that sea turtles actually choke on the plastic bags and the straws that people just throw away. And in about 2050, there's going to be more plastic in the ocean than there are fish, like weight-wise, and that's really sad to me because people don't really realize how bad plastic can affect our environment.
Skylar raises money selling t-shirts on her website, seaturtlehelp.org. We asked Mullane what he thought about recent actions getting water bottle filling stations placed throughout the school.
It's one of the best stories here at the high school, and I can only speak on the high school because I'm not down in the other schools, but a fantastic effort to get these put into the school. My classroom is near one of the water bottle filling stations in the cafeteria. I can see every day, many times a day, people going and filling up water bottles that they were not willing to do when we had the weak little fountain that barely put out water. And some people, again, even if the fountain operated, they don't feel comfortable, whether it's psychological or a question about hygiene. The water bottle filling station is so convenient, and all one needs to do is look at the data and look at how many individual use bottles we've not used and not had to deal with, either as solid waste or as a recyclable. That it's been a fantastic program, and that really makes me happy to see students using that with any container, right, made of any material.
So we've already talked about what's being done in the school. Now, besides getting a refillable water bottle, what can you do to help the problem?
The thing I try and encourage everybody to consider is the 3 R's, which are reduce, reuse, and recycle. And recycle is the third and actually least desirable option. To me, right, a perfect world would be where we're not even making the plastics or generating. We don't have that many bottles out in circulation that are made of plastic. So I really want to encourage people to think alternatives to plastics. metal, containers, glass containers.
So in APES, we're doing a thing like no straws. So if you just stop using plastic straws at a restaurant, ask for no straw, like the little contribution can help sea turtles and other animals.
A lot of teachers say that they see the future in their students, and as an AP Environmental Science teacher, how do you look towards the future when it comes to sustainability?
Absolutely hopeful. When I went to high school many moons ago, there was not even a course in environmental science. Much of the science that my students are learning is, it's a combination of some classic earth science and biology, but it's an exploding field. Really only since the 70s have we really focused a lot of money and energy and research in the environmental sciences. And so some of the problems that we're having are a result of 100 or 200 years of living, in America with, the idea that maybe resources were limitless, that, there was nothing that was going to come back and hurt us. We had lots of space and a small population. Now we have a much bigger population. We use a lot more stuff. And the students who are taking environmental science here are learning what the challenges are, but they're also learning that they can be part of great solutions. They can be inventive, invent new technologies. They're learning sustainable habits that their parents just never knew about. And that leaves me hopeful that as big as the challenges are and as dark as some of the news is, I firmly believe change is possible, and it's going to happen with what I call the APES Army, that students come through and they leave here and they join the APES Army to go out as soldiers for the environment, like the Lorax, to speak for the trees, to speak for clean water, speak for clean air, right, and to really make a difference and make a change. And when we get enough of them out there, that's going to have we'll get past the tipping point and things will get better.